Hello everyone! How you all doing today? Welcome to our special birthday party show. Thank you to all of you that came along to our little networking party event, games and chats and fun that we just had on Wonder. We're here on YouTube for a regularly scheduled YouTube show, but with quite a few twists. So we're not doing the usual topic. We're not doing the news segment. We're not doing any web reviews, anything like that. And I might keep looking at the floor, and that is because one of my best friends in the world, Mr. Tofu Brulee, my dog, is sitting on the floor. I'm gonna bring him up, hopefully to say a quick hello to you in a second, but he's joining me for the party just because I felt like I needed company in the room, really. So hopefully he's gonna be good. But he does sometimes decide there's a cat in the room when there isn't. So he might start barking frantically, and if he does that, I'm just going to put back on that countdown music and escort him from the room. Hopefully we won't need to do that, but if I put back on the countdown, you'll know what's happening. And if you're one of the people watching right now, let everybody else know in the chat that that's what's happening. That would be really helpful. So we're definitely going with the flow today and doing lots of wacky and wonderful things, and I would love to know your favorite flavor of cake as we get started here, or if you prefer like a birthday flan, that's fine. All fans of all kinds of birthday treats welcome here. I mean, if you are a savory person and you buy yourself a special cheese on your birthday, I want to hear about that too. I was surprised how long it took for someone to say anything chocolate, so thank you for that, Carrie. That's usually my answer. Yeah. There were loads of fruit answers at the start, which I love too. Ice cream cake from Amy. And let me see, we had strawberry rhubarb. We've had 2 votes for rhubarb. Who else was it? Helen, I think, voted for rhubarb, which is awesome. Glad you love rhubarb. I associate rhubarb with my time with my great aunts, mostly, who passed away quite a while ago now, but we used to go visit them. They still lived in England. My mum's originally from England, and they would grow rhubarb in their garden and they would make things with it. And I completely just, the taste of rhubarb is them to me. It's that house in Bournemouth. So, yeah, brings me right back to that. Thank you all for your lovely birthday messages. Kathy, carrot cake would be another one of mine for sure. I love a good carrot cake. Oh my gosh. It's one of the best. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so many great cakes coming in. I'm not going to say them all or we'll spend the whole time talking about cake. That wouldn't be such a bad thing, to be honest, in my view, but still. You're here for some other stuff too, right? So I'm going to attempt to bring up Tofu and just have him say a quick hello since he's sitting at my feet. Now, he's not big, he's a small dog, but he's got quite a long body. He's an unusual shape, so he's a bit awkward to lift. And if you don't realize this already, I'm not sitting right now, I'm standing. So we're going to give this a go. I have a stool beside me. We're going to see if we can balance him up here. You ready? This is the first experiment of many in this birthday show. Here we go. Come on, Tofu. Ready? Oh, there he goes. Oh, there's Mr. Tofu. Are you going to balance there, love? Can you sit there? This is Mr. Tofu. Yeah, I know. He just wants a cuddle. He's in the corner, though. We can see him. Yeah? Do you want to get back down? Yeah. Not quite sure about this. As you hopefully saw, he has a special festive birthday bow. And don't worry, he's not as miserable as he just looked there. He's a very happy dog. But that's Tofu. You may have seen pictures of him on Instagram and stuff. He's with me in the room today. And we'll see if he likes to stay here or if he needs to go out later. We'll see how it goes. So, birthday show. We are going to play several games today, but before we even play any games, I'm just going to give away a prize just to get things started, okay? So I'm going to pick someone at random. I'm just going to scroll up and down here in my chat. I know you can't see me do that, but trust me that that's what I'm doing. And Grana Hill. Hello, Grana. If you're still here, you're about to win a prize. So what I need you to do is type a number from 1 to 10 into the chat. 1 to 10. Grana. And if you're not here, I'll choose someone else. But here it is. We've got 1 to 10. You pick a number, that'll be your prize. If you're not there, I'll give you 1 minute to join in. So we're going to click on one of these. And, yeah, and we're going to dive in. Okay, I'm going to pick someone else. Grana, come back to me later if you are here, and I'll give you something as well. Don't worry about it. I should have cued a drum roll, shouldn't I? Barth Piano Fun, who I've just discovered. Yeah, we were just on the live call together before. Hello. Do you want to give me a number and that'll be your prize? Doop-a-doop-a-doo. This, by the way, the background here is from the intro, the normal intro. Do you recognize it? Those who are regulars on our Vibrant Music Teacher chats here. 7! That's the background. Okay, here's number 7. Here we go. T-shirt of your choice, Barth Piano Fun / Kathleen. So any t-shirt of your choice. What you need to do if you win a prize today, just let us know. So you need to actually tell us that you have won a prize by emailing us, support@vibrantmusicteaching.com. It's perfect. Just let me know. Put it in the email. I won a prize. I was supposed to get a t-shirt of choice. Here's the t-shirt I want, or I don't know where to find the t-shirts. Let me know. Whatever situation is, if you don't know which one you want yet, let us know via email and we'll get back to you, because obviously we can't share email addresses and stuff here on YouTube. So just give us your preference. And yeah, congratulations, Kathleen. So we're going to play several games today, but before we get there, I've put together a wee timeline, because I thought that would be fun, of VMT. So I'm going to take you from the beginning all the way through. And we're going to start with when I started teaching. You can let me know in the chat if this is way after when you started teaching. I know many here will have much more experience than me. I started around 2003. I can never quite pinpoint it, but it was around there. I was around 15 or 16, so you can work out my age if you like. And yeah, I started around 2003 and got going with teaching, and I kept teaching the same old way, and then I kept teaching the same way, and then I was still teaching the same way all the way up to 2011. So if you're out there and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so stuck in my ways, I didn't know about any of this creative stuff, or I've always been just a method book teacher or an exam teacher, and this is all new to me and so overwhelming to change things, I do get it. I mean, I taught the same way that my teachers taught me, and that's all I did. And I just continued like that. And that was right up until the time when I actually quit teaching. So I thought I was done with it. It was a school and college job for me. It was a way to earn extra money, honestly. I enjoyed it. I think I was not terrible at it, but it was just a side job. And I graduated from fashion, as many of you know. I didn't study music, I studied fashion design. And I went to work in fashion. I went to work in a high street store. You won't have heard of it, but it's like a, not super expensive high street kind of shop called Dunn's. And I went to work there in the head office, in the design department, got a great internship, and it was an amazing opportunity to land out of college. And I thought I was done. That was it. And then I finished my internship there, and through what I now see as an amazing stroke of luck, I didn't continue. So they offered me a continuation of that internship. She offered me, my boss there, offered me a second year basically of the internship. It was paid, by the way. It wasn't a free internship. It was paid, and basically I could have renegotiated the salary probably. And being a second year intern, as it were, in that department, it would have been a great start and it would have been a springboard to a lot of other things. The reason I didn't take it, which I now find extremely lucky, is that I was getting married to my husband, who might be able to show up later. He wasn't feeling so well, so he's hopefully going to drop in. But yeah, the reason I didn't do that was I was getting married, And depending on visa nonsense I won't go into, we were hopefully going to go straight to China after our wedding because my husband is from China and I had never met his parents. And so we were going to get married here in July. My internship finished in June. And if I signed up for another year, I knew I couldn't take a long enough period off to travel to China. So that's why I didn't take it. Now that's the reason, and that was the reason in the front of my head, but as often happens, in the back of my head really was, I'm not sure this is right for me. This isn't as creative as I thought it was. It's not as creative as college. I feel a bit drained by this, honestly. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was so drained by it, and it was just so in that particular and this is nothing disparaging about the particular brand I worked for or anything like that, but at that level of fashion, the design is really in service to the buyers. And so I wasn't really designing, I was really doing tweaks to things we'd already made and doing a lot of time in Adobe Illustrator just drawing things or in Photoshop fixing up images and stuff like that. And it was fine, but the office environment really didn't suit me, and that combined with a lack of creativity in the actual job was starting to drain me. So anyway, so I left that industry and I got married, and then it turned out we couldn't go to China until the next year anyway, so you might have been, kicking yourself about it, but I really wasn't. I decided to start a bridal wear business and continued from there. So I became self-employed. That's the point at which I became self-employed, 2012, just after I got married, and started this bridal wear business, started making wedding dresses and veils and that kind of thing. And this is where I started to teach again. And really, it was about money again. I'm going to be honest. Like, I've always enjoyed teaching, even at those beginning years. And I've always taken it seriously, more than many, I think, do when they're starting out as a teenager. But it was never meant to be my main profession. I think many of you will relate to that, right? I hear from teachers all the time that come from all which ways. And they often think they're the only one. So I like to just put my story out there to say, we all come from different directions. And it doesn't mean you can't be a great teacher. It doesn't mean that you don't fit in. It actually means that you do fit in, probably. So I was doing bridal wear, and I was sort of half and half. I was teaching, I was doing bridal wear, and I was fitting the two together, and it was working quite well for me. And in early 2013 is when I discovered blogs. And it was just, I was looking for a particular thing. I don't even remember what it was now, but I had a student and she had transferred from a different country. She was from Serbia and she had moved here and she was coming from a completely different musical system. And so I was looking up something to teach her something that had been left out of her education up to this point. Now, she was an excellent transfer student. She wasn't like missing a whole bunch of stuff, but there was something I needed to fill in. And so that's how I discovered a few different blogs, coming up with ideas for how to teach her these things in a different way. And this is when it all changed for me. It was magic. I mean, I know blogs are old hat and whatever, and they probably were all already old hat in 2013, but I hadn't been into them. I hadn't been reading them. And it was like this whole thing had opened up to me, like, oh, some teachers do things very differently to the way my teacher did. And of course I would have known that on some level, but not really. And we can teach through games, and we can improvise with students even if they're not learning jazz, and we can do all these different things. And more than that, there's this whole community of teachers out there who are sharing things and who are letting us see inside their studios. And I wanted to be part of that. So I started my little blog, and it was really from the perspective of, a lot of people will have known this in the beginning, I started it to share preschool teaching resources, because although I was finding some resources for teaching preschoolers and some ideas, I wasn't finding a lot of printable stuff that I felt I needed to teach the groups of 2 and 3 black keys. I mean, that's one of the first resources I ever created, was that keyboard builder, as it's called in VMT, which is just the 2 black keys 3 white keys, 2 black keys on one card, and then the group of 3 on another card, and you put them in order. And it was because I was teaching these preschoolers and I didn't have enough material to fill the lesson, quite honestly. And I felt like it was a little bit lacking and they weren't grasping these basic concepts. So I said, okay, well, I can do that. Like, that's super easy for me to create as a former designer in Illustrator, no problem. So I put that together and I thought I'll just share this on my blog. If you have a website, it's good to have a blog. Like, that was basically my idea. And shared that and started sharing a few other things. And then it started ramping up. And then it became, for a while, 3 times a week, I posted something, often just a small free resource, but sometimes longer, thoughtful posts and things like that. And then we've gone down, I went down at some stage to weekly so that I could put more effort into each post. You really can't hear my stomach growling. It's not growling, but maybe tofu was making sounds. So sorry if that's what it is. It's really not that. Unless you're talking to someone in the chat there. Anyway, so yeah. So I started blogging and sharing different ideas I was coming up with. And it wasn't until 2015 really that I started releasing some products. And I don't think Thinking Theory was the first one. I actually think Playful Practice came first, but when I was researching this, I was just looking for the main steps, like what took me to this point. And I think the launch of the Thinking Theory books was a big step for me. That was a huge project to put together, and it was grown out of my frustration with the theory books that I had. And I had done smaller things in the past, but I decided, no, I'm going to take this on. I'm going to do a series of 4, so prep, grade 1, 2, and 3, basically, theory books, and they're going to have plus books so that you can get extra reinforcement, etc. I won't go into the whole design of Thinking Theory, but that's where that came from, and it was all based on this lasagna approach to learning, where you have, one thing, and then another thing, and then another thing, and then you come back to the first thing. That's what I wasn't finding anywhere. Like, it's like a spiral or like a lasagna where it builds, and yeah, you add new fillings every so often, but you need to keep repeating them with spaced intervals. So that is where I launched Thinking Theory from. And from there, expanded a little bit this way and that way, kept blogging regularly, maybe had some YouTube videos around that time, I'm not sure. And then in 2017 is when I launched my book. So I wrote that in 2016, the Piano Practice Physician's Handbook. I was so nervous about writing that book. Oh my gosh. So I don't know, many of you may be the type of people that in school writing was your thing. It wasn't for me. I was not bad at English. I wasn't like the kind of student who would fail English or would be at risk of that, but it wasn't one of my good subjects. And in particular, if they asked me to do writing, like creative writing or longer essays about comparisons of literature, whatever, that was not something I was very good at. I wish someone had taught me rules of how to write essays and stuff, but I really didn't feel like I had any idea where I was going with any of it, and I think I still would struggle with that if I was handwriting it. Honestly, I think there's just something in my brain that it's so hard for me when I can't edit as I go. But typing is a different thing, and through blogging I'd grown some confidence in my own writing. So I started writing this book. I had this idea for the Piano Practice Physician's Handbook, and I wrote the whole thing. And then I reached out to my friend who's a proofreader by profession. And I said, would you mind taking a look at this? It might be absolute garbage. And I really want you to tell me if it is. But if it's not, would you be interested in proofreading it, helping me edit it? And so she thought it was great. And obviously she's not a teacher, but she thought it was well written. And that gave me some confidence. And we went forward and we published it in 2017. And then just after that, prepared beforehand, of course, I published my first course, and that was my first video course, which was the Piano Practice Physician's Clinic. So it took all of the things from the Piano Practice Physician's Handbook, and each one I made a video about it and put that together. And by this point I was used to YouTube and stuff, so I had some idea what I was doing with video, although when you look at those videos, you'd be like, wow, things have changed. But we all start somewhere. So I leave that stuff up because I hope the pedagogical content is still there and anyone can excuse slightly less perfect video and audio. So that course came out of that, and I launched it on its own, and it went really well. Lots of people bought it, which was amazing. And that ended up being absorbed into my next project. So when I was, we skipped one. Let me see if I can find that quickly for you. No, I'll just describe it. So in 2017 is when we launched VMT, which was really amazing for me. I mean, I had that idea sort of towards the start of the summer of 2017. And I had this idea and it was brewing in the back of my head because I was so irritated with looking for games. I mean, that's really where it came from. I would track down a game from a blog or I'd make one myself and then I'd lose it. Or I wouldn't know if it covered this or that properly, and so I would have to investigate it so much that it just wasted so much time, honestly, to try and decide, is this game for this student? Will it do the thing that I want it to do? And then if it doesn't, you've wasted lesson time or you've wasted your planning time and you end up doing nothing and teaching them a way that you're not as proud of, as if you had to use this interactive game, but you run out of time. And so I wanted a way to catalog all these things. So it started probably as an idea for a spreadsheet. I said, it's not going to be as useful as a spreadsheet. Maybe I can put it on a page with images. Maybe I can set up a web page that's just for me. And then it started evolving into, if I want this, other teachers will want this. Like with the preschool games. If I am frustrated by what's available, other teachers probably are too, so I should share it. So it developed into this idea for a membership. And I had started putting this together, but I still wasn't sure I was going to go ahead with this. This is kind of like the book, right? I put it together, keeping it completely secret. That's just what I'm like. And then eventually I get the confidence to go forward with it. But I told Tim Topham about this, so many of you will know I've worked with Tim Topham for a long time, we're good friends, and I met him for the first time in person at NCKP in 2017. That's the first time I went to NCKP, which is the National Conference on Keyboard Pedagogy. It's in Chicago. And I went there and we were having dinner and I told him about this idea, and the more I talked about it to him, the more I was like, no, I'm doing this. This isn't a maybe anymore. And I literally went home from that conference. I mean, I had just said it to him. I was, I'm kind of thinking about this idea. And we chatted about it. But it wasn't him saying anything. It was just me telling someone else that made me feel like, no, I definitely needed this, and so do other teachers. So I went home from that conference, and for August, which is an off teaching month for the most part for us, I just worked a lot to put it all together. Like I said, I had started on it, on the design side of things, but website and everything, I just worked non-stop in August, and I launched it in September of 2018. So yeah, it was a whirlwind to create it, of course, and I wasn't sure that anyone would go for it, but it went extremely well, the launch of it, and people just jumped at it, as I'd hoped they would, because I hoped they felt the way that I did at the time. And anyone who's in the chat who's a founder member, let us know. I would love to see your names. We have quite a few who joined at that very, very cheap initial rate, and they're still on it because of their loyalty, and I'm proud to be able to continue to offer them that rate forever, because they jumped in when it was still untested, as it were, by other people. Obviously I had tested it, but it was an unknown, and they went for it anyway, and I'm so happy that they did and were able to support it, and that we continued from there. So 2018 was all about launching and getting started with the games, and the promise was just 5 games a month. and we added those to the library. So we started with around 100 games and we added 5 more every month. And we've continued to do that. And now, I would have to look at the number. I don't know what we're at. Over 300 anyway. And so we continued like that. And then in 2019, so that's like 4 months, 2017. In 2018, we added more courses and stuff. And in 2019 is when we launched many of our really big flagship things. I mean, we had quite a few awesome courses in 2018, but I really stepped it up in that area in 2019 without missing a single group of 5 games in a month, for sure. But 2019, we added both levels of mini musicians and all 3 levels of the piano power booster plans. And for members that are here, you'll know how enormous they are. They were all added in 1 year. The year before that, we added Tiny Finger Takeoff. So that was really the start of that format of plans where it's a full year and it gives you everything except your method book. Or in the case of mini musicians, it literally gives you everything for a group preschool program. You don't need to buy anything else. So it's all, every time I add something, it's because I feel it's needed. I feel other teachers might want it too. And I don't think it's out there. It's really as simple as that. Which is also true of our launch in December 2019, which was the report, which we're coming up on creating our 3rd one of those. So in 2019 was the first one. Did a survey of over 500 teachers to discover, what hours are you teaching? Where do you teach? How are you teaching? Are you including games? Are you including improv? Are the trends that we feel are happening actually coming true in reality? And what are you struggling with and all that kind of thing? So we published a report. It is totally free. We publish this now every year. So this will be our 3rd one in 2021. And it's my pleasure to be able to do that. This is what the business is all about to me. It's about seeing what teachers need and pouring that back into the industry so that we can all have a stronger industry and a less disconnected one as well. So in 2020, we're all waiting for this year, right? We published, as usual, quite a few courses, including Modern Music Studio Marketing, Interval Immersion, which is blast through intervals, Creativizing Classics, and our 2 lead sheet courses, because that's something members were asking for. So we have Kickoff and Level Up, 2 different levels of lead sheet courses. And aside from that, we did a lot of other stuff. Those were planned. The courses were planned. And there's a reason, many people will know that I'm into planning, right? I love to plan things ahead of time. I love for things to be scheduled. But I'm not actually fanatical about that at all. So the reason I love doing that is not because I love sticking to rigid schedules. It's because when something like a pandemic happens, we have breathing room. And that's what we had as a team, because by this point, we're talking about a team. It's not just me anymore. And in March of 2020, we had to use exactly what it is, the reason that I plan so much and schedule so much ahead of time and put everything together. Because we had a pandemic, right? Just before St. Patrick's Day in March, so I'll always remember when it was. The world started to feel the effects of this thing that had been, in a certain part of the world, and we'd all been going, yeah, but it won't really, because they always say that, right? Anyone else feeling like that? Like, I was paying attention to it for sure, but really I felt like it was going to be another swine flu or things, which are all serious. I'm not saying they didn't matter. I'm just saying I was expecting it not to hit me, as many of us weren't, right? So March of 2020 happened, and we had the breathing room to push some things out of our schedule that didn't make any sense anymore, and immediately put together our online essentials workshop and resources. And that's what I poured all of my time and my slightly manic, admittedly, energy from pandemic beginning brain, right? We all had it. The initial lockdown where your brain was just on fire. I decided to pour that into creating all these resources because I said, all these teachers are going to need to switch to online teaching. And I may not have been teaching full-time online. That's new to me too. But one thing I can do is quite a bit of tech. So let me put out all the resources I can to help teachers through that. And so that's what we did in March. And then in April, end of March, beginning of April, is when members started putting together PowerPoint games. This all started with Kurt and snowballed from there. So Kurt put together the first games for his students. He converted them into slides or into PowerPoint, and he put out a video to say, this is how I did it if anyone else wants to do it. And that's why I love our community, because it's so sharing, right? It's so generous. So he put that out there. A few members picked it up and started creating them, and it started picking up from there and converting more and more of them. And then we started putting out our own official versions as well. And we, in April, put out the community forum. So we didn't have a member forum on the site before that, but I wanted a way for us to organize those games and communicate outside Facebook, etc. So we put out the forums then. And then in May, from May on, we started doing basically that format for almost all of our games. There's always an online option available. Now in March and April, we still released, or in April in particular, we still released online appropriate games, but it was in our own way, not in the slides format. But that really came from the community, which is awesome. And we have done that all the way through. All of our games work in slides now. So we just added that to our workflow going forward. And it's obviously been extra work to do that, but it's been our pleasure. In July of this year, we launched, or of 2020, we launched the Teacher Tracker, which is your way of focusing on just a few things at a time. And hopefully some of you have used that process. It's a way of creating a to-do list that is not a mile long, that actually helps you focus and can bring together things from all different sites that you use, including VMT. And then we launched our online from the outset plans. So this came from Sarah, our our content manager. Sarah came to me and she, around May, I think, and we were talking about new content and things coming up, and she said, the thing that's freaking me out is it's about to be summer and then September, and I'm going to have new students that I have never met in person because I'm staying online. She was, for her particular circumstances, she knew she was, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. I'm never going to be in the same room as them. So what's that going to look like? And what resources can I use? And how can I avoid sending them a book and not knowing if it's right for them? So that's why we published online from the outset. And then we had our 2020 report, which was really fun to compare to 2019, and also to include more COVID data and stuff like that about online teaching and things like that. And we're about to start our survey for the next one. So if you missed that one or any of the previous ones, I would love it if you made a special mental note to fill it in this year, because I want to keep hopefully adding lots and lots more teachers to that each year, because the more people we have, the more data we have, the more representative it is of the industry. And that's what I want from that report. Anyway, that takes us to 2021. Welcome to this year. So this year we published the Foundations of Piano Teaching, the Creative Kickstart, which is your from the beginning plan for adult students and teens to teach them creatively. We published Smooth Studio Systems, which is about using Asana or ClickUp or processes like that to organize your to-do lists and your studio in general, basically. And then we had the Ear Elevator and the Productivity Power Up as well. And then we still have one on the way. So 2021 is not done. I didn't put up our final one on this little thing here. Then we released a Student Sleuth as well this year, which is our way of helping you figure out where your students are at and how they're progressing. And then your new lesson list feature, which we just launched last month, which I hope you're loving so far, members who are watching. And that takes us up to today, 4th birthday party. So welcome. And I hope you've enjoyed the journey almost as much as I have. It's been my pleasure to take you through it. Now we're going to do some more games, but I'd love to hear your favorite resources from VMT if you're a member, or your favorite moments from the last 4 years. Before we get there, let us have another prize drawing, shall we? I'm going to do another random scroll one. Do 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 do. What a beautiful song I have. Okay, I've landed on Melinda, who said, "Thank you for sharing your story. Happy birthday. You've been such an encouragement to me, especially now that I know you came from a business background." Thank you. Thank you, Melinda. And if you're here still, please let us know. You have to actually stay on the call to win these prizes today. So if you're here, give me a number. We've already used up number 7, right? So we need a different number. Choose anyone you like, Melinda, and let us know what you want. Thank you all for all the wonderful comments. Karen and Carrie and Amy and Kim. Oh my gosh, you're all so lovely. Elizabeth, I'm so glad you've been enjoying the lead sheet courses. That's awesome. And Helen, the lists as well. Lee, you started listening in 2018. Yeah, that's awesome. That's right. It started the membership. I hope it was fun for you to hear my journey. It's not often that I just talk about myself. Like, I talk about myself as an illustration of a particular point rather than just telling you my story. So that's something that's unusual for me. But, yeah. Okay. Seems like Melinda's not getting back to us, so we're going to choose someone else, but I will do 2 in a row if Melinda gets back. Here we go. Sandra, are you still here? Sandra, you can give us a number as well as Melinda if you're both here. Oh, thank you, Lee. I'm so glad it was useful to hear the story. Angie, student game favorites, Yeti Yetters, Don't Leave Me, and Spooky Sound Cards. I love Yeti Yetters so much. That's actually one I'm probably proudest of. It's a very simple game in terms of the game format. The best ones often are, aren't they? But it's about growth mindset, which I believe is so, so important to teach to students in an accessible way. Okay, I'm going to pick one more. Previous ones can get back to me if they are still here. Elizabeth! I've landed on you. Let us know which one you want to draw. Any of these numbers on screen. Bernie, thank you for that. Oh, Sandra, great. Elizabeth, you can still pick one. Go ahead. But Sandra has picked number 10, so let's see what that is. Playful practice. Sandra, send us an email to support@vibrantmusicteaching.com. support@vibrantmusicteaching.com, and let us know you won playful practice, and we will get it to you ASAP. Yes, that's you, Elizabeth. Sorry, I didn't use your YouTube name because I knew it was you. So 3 it is. Mug of your choice. Elizabeth, let us know what mug you would like from the store, or just shoot us an email in general at support@vibrantmusicteaching.com. support@vibrantmusicteaching.com, and we'll be happy to send that over to you. So we have a whole bunch of prizes today. By the way, I forgot to say one of them is actually an annual membership to VMT. So if you get the Flamingo, if anyone gets the Flamingo today, they get a free year's membership. Doesn't matter if you're a member or not a member, you'll get a free year of your membership. So let's hope someone gets the Flamingo, yes? Okay, I've got a little game to play with you. It's called 2 Truths and a Lie. Anyone know this game? Very simple one. I'm going to tell you 2 things that are true about me and 1 lie. I won't tell you which one is which. You need to try and guess which one is the lie. Okay. So number 1, and sorry, someone who gets it correct will win a prize as well. Number 1, I traveled to Slovakia at age 11 without my parents. Number 2, I became an aunt at age 10. And number 3, I got up to purple belt in jiu-jitsu as a teenager. Which one do you think is true? Or is false, sorry. Which one is the lie? Put your guesses in the comments. I'd love to see which one you think is a lie and which ones you think are true. Carrie thinks 1 is a lie. Kim thinks 3. Corey thinks 2. So 1 vote for each so far. Oh my gosh. I wish I could tally these up really fast, but I'm not going to be able to do that. Keep your votes coming in. These are fun. Lots of 1s in a row there, which is the Slovakia one. Jillian, thank you for the happy birthday. That's lovely. Thank you so much. Katie says 3. Kimberly says 1. Okay, I'm going to pick someone out who answered correctly. Here we go. Here we go. Lydia, you are absolutely correct. It is number 3. I did not get up to purple belt in jiu-jitsu as a teenager. I actually did karate, not jiu-jitsu. Never did that. One of my teachers who works for me right now is doing jiu-jitsu, which is where the idea popped into my mind from. But I did karate up to... I can't even remember which was the last one. It could have been purple. The green was before purple. I can't remember. It's Shotokan. If anyone did it, they can tell me the correct order. But anyway, I stopped before brown. So I didn't get brown or any of the black belts in my karate that I did. But I did get up to, yeah, a fairly high level with it. Anyway, Lydia, tell me which one you want. Here we go. Oops. There we go. Tell me which number you want, Lydia, and I'll tell everyone about the other 2. So, number 1, that loads of people thought was a lie, I did travel to Slovakia without my parents. I traveled with a group of Irish dancers. I used to travel with my Irish dancing group, and the first trip I went on, I was age 11. So, yeah, I did do that. Of course, I had supervision. I had my dancing teacher with me and a whole bunch of other girls and a couple of boys around the same age. Lydia wants number 4. Thinking theory, Lydia. You get to pick any level of thinking theory and I will send it to you in a studio license. So pick any one book, thinking theory, send it in a studio license. And perhaps someone could write our email address in to the chat as someone was asking there before. support@vibrantmusicteaching.com. Could someone type that in for me? I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, congratulations, Lydia. So my second truth that many of you seem to have been surprised by is that I was an aunt at age 10. If you know a lot about me and have studied my life, which I hope you haven't, that would be boring. I have 4 older brothers. So I'm the youngest of 5. And so my eldest brother had twin boys. And he was 23 and I was 10 when they were born. So yeah, I was 9 when I found out I was going to be an aunt. And there's about, yeah. Anyway, so I'm closer in age to them than most of my cousins, actually, because I'm the youngest in my family, and my parents are both the youngest in their respective families and their siblings. So I end up as the youngest of all the cousins and everyone, pretty much. So yeah, I was an aunt at age 10, and I did travel to Slovakia at age 11. I never studied jiu-jitsu. Looks like fun though. Love to do it someday. Okay. Next, we're going to play a round of Rhythm Railroad very quickly. I just realized the time. Oh my gosh. We have to rush. We're gonna do 1 round of Rhythm Railroad, and then we will get back to another prize. So I'm just gonna make sure the sound is set up correctly for you all. Yeah, should be coming through. Okay, you ready to try it? So the 2 hands, that means tap your hands. The orange is touch your shoulders. The green is stamp your foot. The heart is tap your chest, although some of my students make a heart symbol. And you're just going to try and stay in time with the music. Here we go. How did you find it? Did you try it? I'm going to give you one more chance in case that time you were like, oh, will I really? I'll just watch. No, don't watch. Do it! Here's the next one. This one's a real challenge. My students go crazy with this one. But it's fun. We're going to do the fast track and just go for it. Just try and attempt to do them on time. I promise you can get it after a few tries, but the first time is really hard. Here we go. Okay, I'm sorry we don't have more time for those. I got so wrapped up in the story earlier, but I'm glad you guys enjoy that. Those are really fun. That is level 3, which just came out. We have 3 levels, so that's the hardest one that's out so far. So the other ones are much easier. You can start at the beginning. It's called Rhythm Railroad for members that are looking for it. And I want to give a shout out, even though he won't be watching, to the creator of those tracks, because I did not make the tracks on this particular resource. A teacher who works at the Colourful Keys studio made them for us. So shout out to Ken for the awesome music. I really love the tracks on this particular series. I think he did a fantastic job and they're so fun to do. All right. It is tough, right? The first few tries I'm like, what? And then I can do it. Okay, we're going to have a couple more prizes to finish off. So I'm going to choose 3 people in one go, and you can all give me your numbers. How about that? Here we go. So, Chrissy, you can type which number you want in a second when I put up the screen. Jillian, same thing. Type your number in a second. And Lee. Chrissy, Jillian, Lee. Let us know your numbers if you're still there, and we will pick them out for you. In the meantime, I'm going to give you one more little game, which is 2 truths and a lie for Mr. Tofu, my dog. So here are Tofu's truths and one lie that he told me to tell you, whispered in my ear. So first is, I find stairs tricky. Second is, half of me belongs in Buckingham Palace. And third is, I love peanut butter. Which one is a lie about Mr. Tofu? Type that into the chat and I'll do our drawings here. So we got Lee is number 6. T-shirt of your choice, Lee. Choose any t-shirt from the store and we'll be happy to send it through to you. Any t-shirt. And let me see here. We had another one. Jillian said number 9. So Jillian, you have a Thinking Theory resource as well. No one's got the flamingo. What a shame so far. Anyway. So number 6 and number 9 are now gone. Please get in touch with our email to let us know what you won. And, oh sorry. Press the wrong buttons there. What you won and what size or what variation you would like. And of course, if you need links to the store to see what you can choose from, just let us know. And I'm going to pick a correct answer about Mr. Tofu, and that's where we're going to wrap it up with the prizes. Okay, so let me see here. Corey, how did you miss it? It's awesome. It's one of my favorite things. Really, like in our studio, it's one of my favorite things at the moment. That we love doing it. It's awesome. So much fun. And it works online, obviously on slides, but I use it in person on the screen as well because it's just so handy in that format. Okay, Let me pick someone who got it correctly. Deborah! You are correct, madam. He does not find stairs tricky. I put that in there because he used to. When we got him at first, he had been astray and then he'd been in quarantine in the rescue centre for a long time. So he just hadn't used stairs and he was like, what is this? So at first he did. Now he leaps up them. He's very happy to use stairs, but initially he didn't. The reason I said half of him belongs in Buckingham Palace is because he's half corgi, and that's the Queen's dogs. And he does love peanut butter. He will do anything for peanut butter, and my students love that fact about him. So, we need a vote for the prize. Let us know what you would like. Deborah? Yeah, Deborah, and let me know which number you want, and that's where we're going to finish up, everybody. And we're going to light the candles on the cake before we finish. So, Deborah, what do you want? I'm lighting the candles. That's what that sound is. Which number? Hopefully it'll be the flamingo. Oh, Deborah hasn't given us a number. Shall we pick 4? Oh, 8. Great. Book of your choice. Deborah, any one of my books. So just shoot us an email. Let us know what you would like. And we're going to blow out the candles on the cake. That makes it look, because the screen is orange, it makes it look like the candles are glowing that much. That's a good effect, but I'm going to turn it off. Okay, here is my cake for today. I went with a brownie. It's because I made brownies anyway yesterday, and they are amazing. So I do want this to be the birthday treat, even though it's not a cake. And earlier, when Carrie and several others said anything chocolate, I'm in that camp. Anything chocolate, please. So here we go. This is her 4th birthday. She's got 4 candles. Make a wish, everybody. And we will go have that brownie in a second. Thank you all so much for celebrating with me. It's been a blast. If you know any teachers who would love to be a VMT member and they don't know about us yet, please do share it with them. That's our web address, so you can find us there. And thank you all so much for joining us. Really, it's been fun to celebrate with you, and it means so much to me. And I won't go on and on because then I'll get gushy, but it means so much to me to run this community and see the impact it has and the impact you have on yourselves, really, and on each other in your teaching and on all of your students' lives. Like, it's just incredible, and it's my pleasure to put together any resources. So as always, requests are always welcome for things that you feel we're not providing for you yet, and we could. We're always happy to do it, and we've lots more fun stuff coming this year and into next year. I mean, as I said, I'm a planner, so we've already got some amazing stuff lined up for 2022. So excited for it. Thank you all so much again. Happy birthday to Miss VMT, and I'll see you next time. Bye.